Yes!
What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir! I mean, yes! There's a clear inconsistency here.
Tisk, what nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating.
Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court.
Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Yesanosa.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because...
Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it?
What the... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it back down again.
Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa?
Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment that I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir.
What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom.
Yeah.
There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there. He was pointing a firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up from the floor.
And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Oh, yes. You were looking for your Koban coin, weren't you?
Indeed, the prized Hoei-era Koban. Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoei treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precarious Hoei Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Aochi?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryonosuke Naruhodo.
What?
He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative! The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Aido.
It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny.
Aido, attention! Your father's about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was. That young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed. Alone, he was. The Englishman, dining all by himself.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
These testimonies are certainly...
Yes!
Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all.
Please, enough of these outbursts already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact.
Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel?
Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by the investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print. It would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
This doesn't make any sense.
The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman.
The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well.
But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt.
And these are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty from Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Aochi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma.
The defense is entitled to cross-examining the witness, but make it quick, understood?
Tisk, rules can be so unbending at times.
Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing.
Yes!
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it.
Have what? Attention! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiquities dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korekura-san?
Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Yes!
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I had just finished drinking my coffee, and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment, a gunshot rang out in my ears.
Full of events beyond our control, life is.
Sorry? What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Coben from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you. With pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
Only there'd been more people dining there at the time. Then someone else would have noticed her.
Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant.
I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect.
Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is that, Counsel?
It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
Hotter clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in the question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke?
Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really.
Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful.
Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence or not?
Yes!
If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds?
The
court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first.
Right, I hear you.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korekuda-san.
Indeed, alone, he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Yes!
So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone.
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in.
So the testimonies of the old man and the soldier and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there was only a single beefsteak on the victim's table, a meal for one.
No.
The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why?
If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What? What did you say, cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible.
Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone.
Sorry?
The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone.
That's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time.
There's nothing I can say to that.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now.
Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light.
I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before.
Oh, you mean this?
Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail.
How exactly?
You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine.